We are so excited to do another video with you. We're having so much fun getting ready to do this video for you because it's all about how we're playing and maybe playing ourselves into greater fun, how to have more fun. And literally, I was sharing this story with Joan and Tomas as we were getting started, is that my husband, when we first got together, asked me what was the most important thing for me in relationship. And my answer, without even thinking about it, came out of my mouth was fun, fun, fun. And he was like, oh my God, that's brilliant. And that's really been the basis of our relationship ever since. And we have more fun all the time because we committed to that. He was committed to that. I was committed to that. And we're committed to that. So this is something that is in the air. And literally on my morning walks, my last 2 morning walks, I've been seeing coyotes, and they're all about fun and play and the trickster energy and reminding us not to take ourselves so seriously. We've got the sun having just gone into Gemini, is with Venus. We've got this full moon happening as we're doing this recording. Everything is really pointing to how are we expanding our perception and our sense of truth around how do we have fun. If we look at the Sagittarius full moon, it's all about what's really true, and truth changes with our consciousness and awareness. So yeah, so that we have that going on as well. So I'm going to take this and turn it over to Joan and Tomas, and they just have some brilliant insights to share with us about all of this as well. So take it away.
Everyone's looking at me.
You might have a little Gemini, I don't know.
I had a wonderful trigger on fun, fun, fun. I don't even want to hear it.
Yes.
When I met Joan, I didn't know that the high school that she went to was the same high school that the Beach Boys went to, and she was the coordinator. They used to do concerts, and Joan was the coordinator for it. And I had this peculiar, when I was at that age, living 3,000 miles away in Michigan, I had this kind of extra attraction for this Beach Boys song that she'll have fun, fun, fun till her daddy takes the T-bird away. Us boomers might remember that song. And the funny thing is, she actually had a T-bird, and her dad did take it away. And I suspect the Beach Boys, she was the only T-bird in town, but he didn't take it away for what you might think. It wasn't that she was having too much fun or that she was naughty. It was that he was having an illness. He couldn't take care of the T-bird, so he got her a Chevy. So serendipitous connection with that fun,
I know,
which has been a little bit of a resonance for us in our whole life, having good Gemini positions in our astrology. We don't resist fun.
In fact, I think that really one of the things, as you said, Kaylin, is that whatever we start out with in our relationship, that's kind of the theme for the relationship very often. And so let's say really deciding that the quality of relationship that we want definitely has to have joy, has to have fun, has to have play in it. And if, we know that that's really what we want, and we cultivate that in our relationship, then our relationship is so much more solid and easy, because we've decided that that's the quality of energy and the kind of relationships that we want. And I think, just as you have decided to do that in your relationship, we've definitely decided to do that in our relationship. We met traveling, when we used to take groups to Ecuador, and he was on the 4th trip there. And, we thought we'd be traveling the rest of our lives. Instead, we kind of came back to Maui and settled in a really beautiful, fun place. But nevertheless, it's like, that's really the ticket. We have to decide that's what we want in order to have it.
Beautiful. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, we're also talking about levity. That fun is very much related to levity, and we know how heavy life can be sometimes. And so it isn't that we're just here to party in life, although we want to keep the party going because we need levity. But that levity lightens the burden of too much seriousness. That's all it is.
Yeah. Because there are serious things that happen in our lives, obviously, and we have to deal with them. But to the degree that I always found that the people that I was most attracted to, even when they were having a difficult time, somehow they had a sense of humor, and they would bring that sense of humor into even a very challenging situation. And I always appreciated that. And I really respected people who were able to presence that, because it just connected us in a different way that was deeper. We could cry together, but we could also then laugh, about the situation in some instances together. And
I love that. It reminds me of the Reader's Digest column, laughter is the best medicine.
Oh.
So if we can't laugh about it, and if we can't find the humor or the levity, I love that word, bringing the levity in those times that are more serious or challenging or difficult, then we're missing out on the medicine that can be there for us, that can help us through that time.
Yes. Yeah. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. And I really do love also that this is kind of, we're doing this in the light of the Sagittarius full moon, because I think of, and we're kind of presencing Gemini, because Gemini is coming into Venus coming into Gemini. And so, that's really an energetic that we feel very much. And in this full moon, I also think of like, how high can we take our lives? How much, how can we continue to expand our ability to enjoy, really appreciate and enjoy what we have in life, whatever that is.
Yeah, even some of the harder things, because once we get through them, we can often look back and see what the gifts were that were there for us in that situation. Sometimes in the middle of it, we don't see that, and that's okay as well. But I've been feeling into, because Jupiter's about to go into Gemini and we'll be there for a year. So this theme, and we're, the sun's in Gemini, Venus is in Gemini, Mercury will be coming into Gemini. We have a lot of Gemini energy happening right now. So it's like, okay, so how can we play our way into greater self-love, a greater way of connecting to the mysteries, to help inform the mysteries as they're informing us through play, through what I just got to do a women's circle where we were creating intentions and making wishes and then doing art to help bring that into, that's a way to play. So there's lots of different ways to play. Watch a funny movie, go see a comedy show, take hikes in nature. There's so many different ways we can play. And just finding something to do that helps to bring that, and to do it with your partner makes it more fun.
And let's also presence new perspectives, because if we all look through a certain lens of our own reality, and there's just a minute, there's winds blowing this curtain all over the place here.
Oh, is it playing with you?
And so Gemini brings the gift of, well, let's look through this lens. Let's look, perspective is everything in life, isn't it? Because that's our reality. And so Gemini is very handy at saying, have a look through this lens and see what you get here. And so that expands the most important thing, and that's possibility. So Gemini wants to offer more possibilities for us to look at life in new ways, so we can solve problems with new awareness and not get trapped in a one dimensional view.
No, thank you for presencing that. I like that a lot, because that's exactly it. I think the one thing that I really loved about you and with your Gemini moon is that you presence that a lot. You bring new ideas, new perspectives, new possibilities for us to talk about and think about. And I think in relationship, that's another thing that is really wonderful, when both parties can bring new perspectives or new ideas. And, we're always listening to different podcasts and this and that, and we get ideas about things. One that I listened to not too long ago that it was really beautiful was how the benefits of crying and how important it is to cry, for the nervous system, for every part of us. It's like, for our emotional well-being. And it was really beautiful, because so often, that's something that maybe we hold back. We hold back our tears because we think it isn't good, or it isn't going to be accepted. So, there's all kinds of ways that we can bring new perspectives to each other and illuminate our lives more deeply.
I appreciate that. I think you may have been, I don't know, if your parents raised you this way, but mine did, and we're of a similar generation. If you stop that crying or I'll give you something to cry about. Threatening. So it's like, so we learn to hold it back. And then also, you know, we can find the humor in things, but is it appropriate? Because we don't want to like laugh in a way that's shaming to somebody, or to find, you know, to say things that are, you know, sometimes people think are funny, but they're really, to the other person, they aren't. So we're not talking about, that's kind of the shadow side of it all. You
Yeah,
know? Yeah.
that's
So,
important.
but from that more loving, lighthearted, playful place, and playful that's kind and caring and supportive and generous, and all of those ideas or perspectives. Because if we think about them, Gemini is about perspective, and it's always shifting perspective. It's very multidimensional in its lens. And that also reminds me that someone said to me, gave me a Wayne Dyer quote today, and I was on an earlier call, and it made me think of the quote that one of his most famous quotes, which is, change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. This is really the Gemini mysteries. If you change how you're looking at it, if you're looking how you're looking at your relationship, how you're looking at your life, how you're looking at your choices, then your life will change for the better.
That's beautiful. Coming back to, go ahead.
No,
Just coming back to something you said, which is around the parents and how, you know, we were raised. I was also thinking of how sometimes even joy, you know, being joyful or gleeful parents can put you down. I've had so many clients that weren't able to really find their play and joy because it was stamped out of them, you know, when they were really little. And so coming back, so if that's a difficult place for you, then that's a place that you know, maybe to particularly focus on, you know, and it's that balance too, you know, not to be so kind of in, you know, like, okay, I just want everything to be fun and make fun of everything, or I'm just so serious that I can't even laugh at myself. But some middle place, you know, where we're able to really laugh at ourselves, and also really take seriously and, you know, honestly whatever's going on in our lives. So, you know, it's the balance. Is it always?
yeah, it's always the balance, it seems to be. And, you know, I think when we're talking about balance, I think we have to presence the other organ of intelligence. You know, we have a brain and a mind. We also have a heart. And that's the coherence that Gemini really needs, is to be more deeply connected to the feeling aspect of, you know, we generally see the back of the heart is where the soul enters the body. And so the more research that's done, the more we understand that the heart really has this quality that if the mind doesn't get it, we're like an empty shell. We don't really have the feelings that it takes to live life consciously and tenderly sometimes.
Oh yeah, that's so beautiful. I love the Awkward Yeti cartoons. Are you familiar with them?
No.
It's the it's the conversations between the heart and the mind. And they do a really good job. It's funny. You know, the heart's always trying to get the mind to quit being so serious or focused, and let's just have more fun and play. And so the one I can remember right now is that the heart is saying to the mind, it's going to get better, right? And the mind says, I don't know. Or the brain says, I don't know. It's like, well, it's not going to get worse. I don't know. And then the heart says, well, what do you know? And the brain says, I don't know. I just love, like, we can have more fun with these perspectives. And sometimes our brains think that it knows everything, but it can get to that place of being open to what's new and what's possible beyond anything it's ever considered before. Being in that place of, I don't know. It's a great place to be, because then new things can come in, and otherwise we might get just really locked into a certain way of seeing what's happening and not be open to those possibilities, so we don't even see them.
Thank you for presencing that. That's really true. We work a lot with heart intelligence, and you know that it really is the organ now that I pretty much I see my life through, I really just run it through my heart first because, and then I do want to, there's a wonderful image that I really like that is from Assagioli, psychosynthesis. And it's this carriage, if you think of a carriage pulled by these beautiful, strong horses with a driver, with the reins, and then someone inside. And if we think of the carriage as our body, we think of the horses as our emotions, we think of the driver as our mind, and then the one inside is our heart, our soul, our spirit. And so as long as there's a good intercom system between the driver, the mind, and the heart, then the driver can really lead the horses where our heart really wants to go, rather than if there's no connection, it's like the horses can just take off, the driver can take it off the road. It's like there's so many things that can happen. So that connection between the heart and the mind is extremely important. I think it's really one of the most important things that we have to do in this lifetime is to really make that connection.
Yeah, it's tender too, because the mind is actually more powerful than the heart, because that's the circuit that we run on. That's where awareness comes in first. It comes in through that awareness. And the heart has this tender thing, and I think we know how fast the heart can close, don't we? Because when something happens that doesn't feel good, we're disrespected, something comes through that just doesn't make us feel safe, heart closes like that. But then it opens much more slowly. It doesn't just open back up. And so that's the problem in life sometimes when we've been hurt or we've had a bad communication and don't feel respected. That heart really needs to be attended to, because a lot of times we have to go back and repair situations that cause the heart to pull back its energy. And so that tender part in the heart really needs to be attended to and respected. And we can't boss the heart around. The boss is really the heart, and the heart has to have coherence with the mind. The mind has to want the heart as a partner to guide its decisions.
I love this. This is so good. And I feel like that's really what the Awkward Yeti cartoons are trying to bring to people's consciousness and awareness, is that connection between the heart and the mind. And sometimes the heart is just going off to play and the mind's like, come back here, we have work to do. And the heart's like, no, we have to play, we need to have more fun. And finding that balance between the two, like sometimes there is work to do, sometimes there are things that we need to do, but how can we make them fun and also create time for fun that's not just work? It's time. And that's the same thing in our relationships, because sometimes the relationship can feel just like a lot of work.
So there's a question that I would like to field for us and for our viewers is, what if we don't have, let's say, a natural proclivity for levity? What if we were raised in an environment that didn't offer much of that, or we never really learned? I'm flashing back to my childhood when I was going through some pretty gnarly emotional cycles, and I didn't understand teasing. I remember as a little kid, someone would tease me or do something that would they were trying to lighten me up. I was very serious as a child, and I remember the whole idea of a joke. I felt like I was an adolescent Dr. Spock or something. I felt really like I just didn't get it. I was so defensive around that, and I know that there's a transmission that happens when people that have levity are around. There's a transmittive quality that does tend to lift the energy a little bit. But what's the prescription? Because again, to Capricorn, it's kind of like, levity. No, let's just get some work done here. And some of the other signs are much more like that too. So how do we provide coherence between the gift, what's meant to be the gift of Gemini, and the resistance that is built up in some people with certain histories and also astrological complexes?
That's such a good question. I'll just say from some of the things that I've been tuning into is I think that Capricorn is actually more fun than we give it credit for. Because our culture, our dominator culture has said, you have to work hard, you have to be successful, you have to do this, you have to do that in order to be a person of value and worth, or whatever that looks like. And when I was raising my kids, we were watching Fantasia, and we were seeing the part where it's the 4 seasons, and the nature fairies are changing the seasons, and they're dancing and playing, and they're changing the seasons. And I was just thinking, they're doing their work. They are having fun and playing and accomplishing what they are there to accomplish in a playful, fun way. And that gave me a whole different, I said, that's what Capricorn's supposed to be. Supposed to be like, and especially if you add Gemini into the mix. So it's like, how do we do it in a way that's more playful and fun, and cultivate that sense of humor? I think cultivate that sense of joy and play more fully in our lives. How do we do that? I think it's a question everybody could be with, because it's going to be different answers for different people.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. I get it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I certainly know that, you know, it is a cultivation. I think, you know, what you said, that cultivation is that once we decide that we want something in our lives, whatever it is, if we want more joy, or more play, or more levity, or more connection to our hearts, you know, that then becomes the focus. And, you know, whatever we focus on, whatever we really want and focus on, then the answer pops up. You know, someone will come into our life that has that quality to it, or, you know, or we'll see a podcast or a movie or something that just has that answer to that. So I think knowing what we really want, knowing what we're trying to cultivate in our lives that is going to make our lives more wonderful, you know, that really is the first step. And then from there, we can allow it to arise. We can allow it to show itself. It's like, oh, I really want this. I really want to cultivate this in myself. How can I do that? And something will come forth. Yeah.
Yeah, you're reminding me of the movie Hook with Robin Williams and Dustin Hoffman, where Captain Hook comes and kidnaps Peter Pan's children because he became really serious and was all about his work and trying to support his family, and, you know, caught up in all of that, and he forgot his magic and he forgot how to play. So when he gets back to Neverland, he doesn't know what to do. And I highly recommend this as a way to get a sense of how we can bring that sense of magic back to ourselves, to watch this movie and go, what would this be for me? And so ultimately, Peter Pan discovers that he needs to find his happy thought. And that helps bring back his magic. It might be different for different people, but that's what he finds out. And that he starts playing, and they're playing, and they're, you know, they're having food fights and doing all kinds of fun things. And then he gets his magic back, and he remembers how to fly, and he's able to rescue his children. And it's just so amazing to see that. And this movie came out in like 1990, I think. I don't know, it was a long time ago, but to see that there was an understanding of the importance of playfulness and fun and happy thoughts that they were speaking into when they created this movie. So I think that could be something that could be helpful to people at this time, if there's, especially if they're struggling and they don't feel like they have that place of connection to being happy or joyful or having fun within themselves. So so I'm going to turn this over to you two to wrap it up. And this has been just such a great conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I always so enjoy our time together. And the thing with the movie is great. And I also think about, you know, that we really need other people in our lives, you know, in order to have fun, you know. And so whether it's a relationship that we decide we're going to have more fun together, or with our children, or with other people, friends in our lives, I think it's important, you know, I mean, if we presence that, you know, okay, let's go on a hike together, or let's, you know, let's get together. And there's all these really cool decks of cards now where they have questions that everybody can answer. And we've done several parties where we just draw a card and we answer a question, and it's so much fun. You know, we get to know each other better, and it's just a delightful way to connect. And so that deep connection, whether we're connecting to our hearts, connecting to another's heart, you know, or connecting to friends cards. It's like, you know, we really need that in our lives right now, particularly, I think. So that's the way I would kind of wrap it up.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't know how we are for time, because what's coming through right now is, I think, to me, is perhaps the most important thing that we haven't presenced, and that is with the Sag full moon right now. And presencing, this idea, whenever anyone says, do you want to go on an adventure? I mean, there's a playful indication. What kind of adventure? I mean, well, and then this awareness of this charged moment that we're in right now, where there's so much potential benevolence in this new adventure that's coming towards humanity and us personally. How do we choreograph maybe the perfect setup for us to hook into this energy and take it forward into our life, and perhaps a simple awareness on a ceremony that we can do?
Yeah.
Do we have enough time to do a couple moments on that?
Sure.
Did you want to offer anything on that, Kayla? Because I really respect your awareness and how to
I
how to
love it. I think doing having a ceremonial intent, and especially at a new moon or full moon, at the solstice coming up, or whatever timing you want to tune into to create these intentions that we've been talking about. I'm curious to hear what you have to say.
Well, what comes to me is getting our hearts and our minds connected to the allure of this new adventure that's so present right now. And what I want to do is I want to completely integrate my field, my energetic content, with almost the rapture of this amazing adventure that's coming in with so much positivity to take us into the unknown within our being, and the unknown that we live in, with courage and playfulness and willingness to go there, knowing that the flow inside the fire of my heart will guide me.
That's beautiful. So hopefully this is inspiring to people to tune into that, figure that out for themselves. What would that be for you? And if you want to share that in the comments, that would be awesome, because then that can maybe help other people ignite something within themselves around that as well. So yeah, I love this. I love that we have this ability to see how play and joy and having fun can just change everything. Bye, everybody.
Aloha.
Bye, aloha. Thank you, Kaylin. Love it. Love to you.
Many blessings.
Yeah.